I worked 3 jobs to support her through college, handing out flyers, delivering groceries, cleaning tables at a coffee shop that didn't even have air conditioning. But every time I saw her smile after class, every time she texted me a simple thank you, I felt it was worth it. Her name was Mira, long dark hair, smart, kind, at least I thought she was. She'd always hold my hand tightly and say things like, "Don't worry, I don't care about money, I just want someone who treats me right." I believed her. I thought maybe, just maybe, I had found the one girl who didn't see the world through price tags. We shared instant noodles, library dates, second-hand hoodies. She'd say, "One day when we're rich, we'll laugh at all this struggle." I worked even harder after that. I didn't have much. A small rental, 1 pair of sneakers, a basic phone. But every penny I earned, I saved for her. Birthday gifts, small surprises, once even paid her college fees when her scholarship was delayed. Her classmates used to whisper things like, "Why is she with a flyer boy? She's so pretty, she could do better." But she didn't seem to care. At least, that's what I thought. Until he came back. The campus had been buzzing with it for days, rumors flying around like wildfire. "Did you hear? The lost heir of the Zhen family just re-enrolled. He's been abroad all these years. Came back in a black Maserati. Apparently he's taking over the family empire next year." I didn't think much of it. Rich people stuff. Not my world. I just kept my head down, worked double shifts, and planned how I'd take Mira to a nice restaurant for her upcoming birthday. But things started changing. First, she stopped waiting for me after class. Then she started dressing differently. Heels, lipstick, branded bags that I didn't buy. I asked her once, "Hey, you okay? You seem distant lately." She smiled and said, "I'm just tired. School's been intense." I nodded. Didn't want to seem clingy. Didn't want to make her feel like I was insecure. But deep down I felt it. That something was shifting. One evening, I went to her dorm to surprise her with bubble tea. She loved brown sugar pearls. But she wasn't there. I texted. Called. No reply. So I waited, and waited. Until I saw her stepping out of a matte black car. Laughing. Her hand resting on a guy's chest. He handed her a phone. Latest model. She giggled and hugged him. That was the first time I saw her look at someone the way I thought she only looked at me. With sparkles in her eyes. I stood frozen on the steps. The cup of bubble tea in my hand started dripping down the side. But I couldn't move. Couldn't blink. I'd never seen her that happy. Not with me. Mira didn't notice me at first. She was too busy playfully tapping her hand against his chest while he whispered something in her ear. Then she saw me. Her smile faded for half a second. But she recovered so fast it hurt worse than a slap. She walked toward me. Slow and deliberate. Like I was a problem to be dealt with. "Why are you here?" she asked. Her voice flat. "I brought you this," I said quietly, handing her the drink. She looked at it like it was a dirty tissue. The guy behind her, tall, smug, clean haircut, expensive watch, came up and slid his arm around her waist. "This your ex or something?" he asked. Mira hesitated, then said with a smile that shattered me, "No. Just a phase. A phase. That's what I was now." I clenched my fists. "Mira, what's going on?" She raised her eyebrows like I was being dramatic. "Look, I didn't cheat, okay? But things change. I want different things now." I didn't know what to say. My mind was still stuck on the word phase. The guy smirked and said, "Hey, don't take it personally, man. Some people just don't belong in the same league." He opened the car door for her. She climbed in without a second glance. I was still holding the bubble tea. I didn't even realize my hand was shaking until it slipped and hit the ground, splashing brown sugar pearls across the pavement like shattered pieces of my pride. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I missed her, but because I couldn't understand how someone could change so quickly. All those late-night walks, all those cheap meals we made together, the times I stood in the rain waiting outside her class. What were they? Just illusions? I deleted her number. But her name stayed burned in my head. Until something strange happened the next day. I got a call from a man with a deep voice. "Mr. Lin," he said. "We've been waiting for this day." At first I thought it was a scam. But then he sent me a photo. It was me, as a baby, held by a woman I'd never seen before. The man continued. "Your grandfather's will has matured. We've been instructed to deliver everything to you. We'll explain everything in person. I didn't understand. A will. Grandfather. What the hell was going on? Then the man said something that made my blood run cold. Your name isn't just Lin Wei. You are Lin Wei of the Eastern Jade Conglomerate. The true heir. I met them the next morning. 3 men in suits, parked in a white Mercedes outside my apartment. They didn't look like scammers. They looked like bodyguards. The oldest one, sharp eyes, silver-streaked hair, handed me a folder. Inside was a photo. The same one I was sent. A woman holding me as a baby. A jade pendant around my neck. Her face was calm, but her eyes looked like mine. That's your biological mother, the man said. She passed away when you were 3. My chest tightened. After her passing, your grandfather feared that you'd be targeted for your inheritance. So he placed you into a normal family, under a different name. The condition was simple. If you lived a modest life for 21 years without knowledge of your identity, and retained humility, then everything would come back to you. I couldn't speak. Everything, my whole life had been a test. All those years struggling, hustling, going hungry, was a setup to see who I'd become without wealth. Your grandfather passed last week. And now, Lin Wei, it's time. They opened the back of the car. Inside were 2 suitcases. One had contracts. The other had keys, buildings, properties, cars, dozens. You're not just his grandson, the man said. You're his only heir. Eastern Jade Conglomerate is now yours. That night, I sat in my tiny apartment staring at those keys. I didn't feel happy. I felt broken. Not because of Mira, but because when I had nothing, I gave someone everything. And they walked away like it was disposable. I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. So I asked the men to drive me somewhere the next day. The university. It was a quiet afternoon. I wore a plain black hoodie, jeans, nothing flashy, but I stepped out of the black Maybach like I belonged in it. Heads turned. People whispered. Is that the new heir everyone's talking about? I thought he was older. He looks kind of familiar. I ignored them. I walked straight to the cafe near the library. The same one Mira and I used to go to after class. And just like fate had planned it, she was there, laughing, with him. That same fake heir. The guy who took her from me. I watched for a moment. He was bragging about something, waving his phone, probably showing her some car he didn't own. She leaned into him, giggling, twirling her hair. He's different, she once told me. He has a future. I cleared my throat. They both looked up. She blinked. He froze. Wei, she said slowly. Wait, what are you? I raised my hand. I'm not here for you. I looked at him. Are you done pretending? His face went pale. Mira looked confused. What is he talking about? I dropped a file onto their table. Inside, proof, his real name, his real background, his real father, a used car dealer. No ties to the Zhen family, no inheritance, just a silver tongue and a rented lifestyle. Mira's lips parted. She stared at the documents like they were written in another language. No, that's not true. He told me. I looked at her, and for the first time I didn't feel pain. I felt nothing. You left the one man who would have given you everything, for someone who never had anything. The silence at the table felt heavier than anything I'd ever felt while broke. Mira didn't blink. The guy, her rich boyfriend, snatched the file and started flipping through it. These are fake, he snapped, his voice shaking. You printed this trash to ruin me. I shrugged. Then explain the name mismatch on your ID, or the dealership rental agreement you used to borrow the Maserati for that party. Mira slowly turned to him. Her hands were trembling. You said it was yours. You swore you were the heir. He didn't reply, just clenched his jaw and looked down. A few students nearby had started filming. Someone whispered, "Oh my God, it's true." Another muttered, "Wasn't that guy flexing online about inheriting a tech company?" The energy shifted. Mira stood up suddenly, pushing her chair back so hard it screeched across the floor. "So everything was a lie?" she asked him, her voice cracking. "You're not the heir?" He didn't even deny it. He just grabbed his drink, muttered something under his breath, and walked away, fast. She didn't chase him. She just stood there, alone, and then her eyes met mine. She stepped closer. "Wei, I didn't know. I swear. If I knew the truth, I stopped her with a look. If you knew I was rich, you would have stayed? She flinched. No. I mean, it's not like that. It is exactly like that. I turned to leave. She reached out, grabbing my arm. Please, Wie. You don't understand. I thought you were going nowhere. I was scared. I didn't mean to hurt you. I looked at her hand. The same hand that used to hold mine in the library. The same hand that now had a designer bracelet I never bought. You said I was a phase. Her face broke. Tears welled up in her eyes. I was wrong. Yeah. You were. I stepped away. People around us were still filming. I heard someone whisper. This is better than any drama I've seen this year. Mira turned to them, yelling. Stop filming. This is private. They didn't stop. Because this wasn't private anymore. It was karma. And everyone loves watching karma unfold. Scene shift at night, Mira called me. 11 times. I didn't pick up. On the 12th, she texted. I made a mistake. Please, can we talk? I didn't reply. Her friends began distancing themselves. The same girls who used to giggle with her about leveling up through dating. Gone. Group chats? She was removed. In one post, a girl wrote, some people deserve to be humbled. Mira's followers started dropping. Comments turned cold. Gold digger. Deserved. You left a king for a clown. He upgraded. You downgraded. 2 days passed. I didn't block her. I didn't respond either. She messaged every few hours like her texts could rewind time. I know you hate me, but we were good together, right? Please just let me explain in person. Even if you don't forgive me, I need to say it. I wasn't angry anymore, but I wasn't curious either. I had meetings to attend, with lawyers, shareholders, board members. The world I belonged to now had no room for girls who only looked at bank balances. It happened on campus. I was stepping out of a black sedan after a meeting when she ran up to me. Out of breath. No makeup. Tear-streaked cheeks. Wie, she said softly. I kept walking. She blocked my path. Please, 1 minute, that's all I ask. I looked her over. The same girl who once said, money doesn't matter to me, now looked terrified of the man she'd once left behind. 1 minute, I said coldly. Start. She swallowed hard. I didn't know he was lying. I thought he was the heir. I was stupid. I got scared when I saw how hard your life was. I thought you'd never make it. I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt. You were always kind. You worked so hard. I see that now. You're the real deal. He was just an illusion. Then she did it. She stepped forward, reached for my hand. Can we start over? I looked down at her hand. The same hand that once pushed mine away, when the fake heir showed up. You chose him. She nodded. Eyes down. I know. And if I was still broke, would you be saying this now? She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. That's when a soft voice came from behind me. Wie. Sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. It was Lee Na, a girl from my charity program. Simple clothes. A kind face. The one who'd helped organize a clothing drive for orphanages last week. I turned to her and smiled. You're not interrupting. I was just leaving. Mira looked between us, her eyes wide. Wait. Is she your cold? I didn't answer. I didn't owe her that. As we walked away, Lee Na asked. Was that someone important? I thought for a second, then said. Just someone from a chapter I've already finished reading. 2 days later, I received a call, from an unknown number. I let it ring. I wasn't in the mood for more apologies, but something made me pick up. Mr. Lin. Yes. This is Mira's father. My hand tightened around the phone. He spoke slowly, carefully. The voice of a man whose pride had been broken before the conversation even began. I know we've never met, but my daughter, she told me everything. About the heir. About what she did to you. There was a pause, then he added. I'm not calling to defend her. I just wanted to apologize. As her father, I raised her wrong. I didn't know what to say. This wasn't the call I expected. We've withdrawn her from the university. Too much shame. She doesn't leave her room. Won't eat. Won't speak to anyone. She's changed. I stayed silent. She keeps saying your name. That if she could just talk to you once more, things might be okay. I finally spoke. She had her chance. I know, he said. But you know what's worse than betrayal? I waited, realizing too late that you betrayed the only person who ever truly cared. Scene shift campus group chat screenshots started spreading. Mira's fake luxury lifestyle. Her DMs begging classmates to stop sharing her photos. Her crying face caught outside the dean's office. The same girl who once said, "I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini," was now being humiliated for chasing one that wasn't even real. People weren't kind. Gold digger got gold dunked. She picked the wrong heir, lol. Plot twist. Flyer boy owned the whole mall. Scene shift Mira's final message. That night she messaged again. I didn't respond, but I read it. I know you'll never forgive me. I know I destroyed everything. But if you ever feel lonely, remember that I'm still thinking of you. Every day. She ended with, even though I left, it was you I loved. I just didn't realize it until everything else disappeared. I showed the message to Lena. She read it quietly, then handed my phone back. You know, sometimes people don't fall because they're evil. They fall because they're hollow, and no one taught them how to be whole. I nodded slowly. She wasn't bitter. She was just right. Weeks passed. The semester ended, and the once busy campus fell into a quiet rhythm. I found myself withdrawing. Fewer people, fewer places, but strangely, I didn't feel empty. In fact, I felt lighter, not because I had forgotten Mira, but because I had finally stopped carrying the version of her I once loved. The illusion had faded, and in its place was peace. One quiet afternoon, I sat with Lena at a lakeside cafe, shaded by golden autumn leaves. She spoke softly about her hometown, and how children there still shared one textbook between 5 students. If we could even donate 100, she said, more to herself than to me. I smiled, and replied, let's donate 500. My family owns the printing company. Her eyes widened, then softened. She didn't see wealth. She saw intent. That was the difference. A few days later, I saw Mira for the last time. She sat alone on a campus bench we used to share during simpler days. No makeup, no designer bag, just quiet. Our eyes met, and she offered me a small tired smile. Hi, she whispered. I paused, nodded, and replied, hi. Nothing more. No dramatic confrontation, no apologies, just 2 people standing on opposite sides of a bridge they both burned. That night, I thought about everything. The betrayal, the pain, the rise, and I realized something. Heartbreak doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you've always been. Mira chased glitter, and lost gold. Lena never chased anything, and earned everything. I used to want revenge, but now, I only wanted peace. And finally, I had it. 2 years later, I returned to the city where it all began, not as the struggling student handing out flyers, but as the CEO of one of the fastest growing tech retail networks in the country. Our charity wing had just launched its 10th reading center in Lena's hometown, and I'd come to speak at the opening ceremony. The crowd clapped, the mayor shook my hand, and somewhere in the back stood Lena, still simple, still smiling. We never dated. She had dreams to chase, and I had a legacy to rebuild. But we stayed in each other's lives, the kind of quiet support that didn't need titles. As I left the event, and walked past the cafe near the university gates, I saw someone inside, wiping tables, apron on, eyes down. It took me a second to recognize her. Mira. Her once perfectly styled hair was tied in a loose bun, her nails unpolished, her phone cracked. She didn't see me. I didn't speak. I just watched for a moment, then walked away, not with pride. Not with pity, just closure. Because sometimes, life doesn't need a grand finale to show you who truly won. Sometimes, the real victory is when the people who once broke you no longer have the power to make you feel anything at all. A month later, I received a handwritten letter at my company's main office. No return address, no flashy envelope, just plain white paper, and her handwriting, Mira. Inside it said, I won't beg anymore. I won't chase what's already lost. I just want you to know, I finally understand everything. The nights you worked while I slept, the things you sacrificed without telling me, the dreams you paused for mine. I was blind, and worse, I was ungrateful. You didn't lose me, I lost you. She ended it with, if I ever matter again in your story, I hope it's as the girl who taught you what not to accept. I wish you peace, even if it's without me. I stared at the letter for a while. There was no bitterness, no manipulation, just something that finally sounded real. I didn't reply, not because I hated her, but because I no longer needed her to understand me. She'd already taught me her final lesson. The difference between someone who walks away when you're down and someone who stays even when you have nothing to offer. That difference is everything. Years passed. The city changed, but my routines stayed the same. Early mornings, late meetings, quiet nights. Success wasn't loud anymore. It was peace, purpose, and people who didn't need to be impressed. One evening, I got an unexpected call from a rural school my company sponsored. Their water pump had broken down, and the kids hadn't had clean water in 2 days. I didn't wait. I flew out that night with our logistics team. When we arrived, the head teacher greeted me at the gate. It was Lena. I hadn't seen her in over a year. Her eyes lit up the same way they used to. Calm, kind, steady. She'd given up city life to run the school full-time, taught math during the day, read bedtime stories in the dorms at night, and somehow still found time to plant flowers in front of the gate. Still saving the world? I asked. She smiled. No, just trying not to make it worse. We sat on the stairs outside the library, after the repairs were done. The sun dipped low, casting warm gold across the hills. The kids were singing inside. Her voice was barely louder than the breeze. Mira came here once, she said suddenly. About a year ago. I didn't know it was her at first. She helped us paint the girls' dorm. Didn't say much, but when she left, she gave me a note. For you. She handed it to me. It was short. Tell him I'm okay, and tell him thank you. I'm finally learning what it means to give, not take. I folded the paper gently and placed it in my coat pocket, not because I needed it, but because the story deserved an ending. We sat in silence for a long time. Lena leaned her head on my shoulder, and for once, I didn't feel like I had to earn anything. I didn't feel tested or measured, or judged. I just felt home.